From Avatar the movie supposedly causing people to become depressed and other dark things tied to the film's conception, certain celebrities that are believed to be replaced by clones, to claims that the human species started as extraterrestrial garbage. All this and more in this second installment of the darkest conspiracy theory iceberg. Hello everyone, Ariel here for the Book of Valis channel. Today we discuss some interesting theories. Some are creepy and strange, while others are more thought-provoking. Hopefully you guys are all having a great day so far. If it's been going downhill, hopefully this half hour or so is able to distract you. If you enjoy long-form content like this, consider subscribing to the channel, as this is part of a series that will continue. I love making these if you want to stick around. Also, I have an Instagram and Twitter if you would like to follow. I want to have this as a backup in case these videos are ever taken down. It doesn't hurt. Anyways, let's get into this iceberg. Dinosaurs never existed. This theory explains itself in the title. Yeah, apparently some people don't believe that dinosaurs are real, or I guess were real because, they got wiped out about 65 million years ago. These deniers believe that all fossils you see at museums are fake and arranged in a way to create a scary creature that never actually existed, and that the remains are from other animals, not mythical dinosaurs. They propose that dinosaurs were merely a hypothesis of many that were blown out of proportion, and some even believe that they were made up before their fossils were ever found, though this shouldn't be confused with certain discoveries and advancements made in paleontology that have led to changes of what we believe dinosaurs actually looked like. For example, the bones found during the Bone Wars, a time in American history's Gilded Age that was marked by intensive and brutally competitive fossil hunting and discovery. Some of those bones found were left unchecked for authenticity, leading some to question if any dinosaurs were real, or were simply conjured up to increase the profit and status of paleontologists as well as museums. For example, the Apatosaurus and Brontosaurus skulls were mixed up and later corrected, one having a big dome and the other not. For a while, Brontosaurus were doubted by the scientific community, but they are now classified as dinosaurs once again, after further research was done. There's also the fact that most dinosaurs didn't even have scales, but most likely had feathers, like modern day birds. But this of course doesn't necessarily mean dinosaurs didn't exist at all. Sony Timer. A common urban myth holds that Sony electronic products had timers that, when they reached a certain deadline, would force the equipment to stop working and require the owner to purchase a replacement. The legend first circulated in Japan in the 1980s, then it spread to other nations, also known as planned obsolescence, the concept that items are meant to break down after a certain amount of time. Basically, it's all planned out, which numerous companies like Apple have been accused of and exposed for legitimately doing, even having to pay out to its customers. Expanding Earth. Theorized first by Charles Darwin, apparently, the expanding Earth theory contends that the position and relative movement of continents is caused at least in part by Earth's volume increasing, expanding to create more surface area. Pangea, the supercontinent, instead of drifting apart as scientifically accepted since the discovery of plate tectonics, they were all separated due to Earth's expansion, moving the continents along the process. The theory of quote-unquote thermocycles developed by Irish physicist John Joly is a compromise between Earth expansion and Earth contraction theorists. He assumed that the heat flow from radioactive decay inside Earth exceeds the cooling of Earth's surface. Joly and British geologist Arthur Holmes believed that Earth loses heat during cyclic periods of expansion. According to their theory, expansion generated cracks and joints in the Earth's interior that could fill with magma. This would follow by a cooling phase in which the magma froze and solidified. This process caused the Earth to shrink and get bigger. Avatar depression. This is a term described as the feeling when you watch James Cameron's Avatar and feel sad afterward because, real life isn't as colorful and exciting as the movie is. Yes, this is real. Some people claim that Avatar gave them depression. Others said that while watching the movie, they felt nauseous and began having headaches as well. I did recently watch the new sequel and rewatch the original, and I kinda get it. Pandora does seem pretty chill, but does it give me depression after watching the movie? No, it did not. But it did put me to sleep in theaters for the first time, but that's besides the point. Now, is there something darker to this film causing this? Well, some people blame Avatar for having hidden occult messages and for trying to push a new age agenda, claiming that the blue people are demonic entities, even referring to the original definition of Avatar from Wikipedia. It states, Avatar is a concept within Hinduism that in Sanskrit literally means descent. It signifies the material appearance or incarnation of a powerful deity, goddess, or a spirit on earth. These are not my opinions, by the way. I respect Hinduism and other religions. There's also a documentary that a lot of people reference titled Revival of Evil, containing a scene where an artist who is mad at God asked Satan to reveal himself because he wanted to paint him. So he shut off all the lights and began painting, claiming that something else was controlling his body. The painting ended up looking like the Na'vi people from the film. Did any of you guys experience post-Avatar depression syndrome? Juiced Ball. According to the Juiced Ball conspiracy, Major League Baseball has intentionally changed the baseballs it uses to boost scoring. The notion first gained traction in the 1990s and early 2000s, but it lost traction once it became evident that a spike in steroid use, which was detailed in the Mitchell Report in 2007, was a more likely explanation for the rise in scoring during that time. The juiced ball notion gained popularity again in the late 2010s as a result of an apparent increase in offensive production, particularly home runs. Now to a word from our sponsor, Raycon. From my favorite music to podcasts, they help me relax after a long day, even inspiring me to run longer on the treadmill when I'm working out, and Raycon offers great comfortable earbuds to help me listen to them. Raycon has what you need, whether you're looking for a set of everyday earbuds, low latency gaming headphones, or a speaker that can play all night while you contemplate your existence. Not only that, compared to other premium audio companies, Raycons have lower starting prices. You don't have to break the bank to get what you want. My favorite feature is the design. Unlike other earbuds on the market that irritate my ears and fall out all the time, Raycons fit comfortably on small or big ears like me, so they don't hurt after listening for an extended period of time, and do not fall out while exercising too. The sound quality feature is great as well. You could choose noise isolation, which allows you to block out noise that's coming from the outside, or awareness mode, allowing you to listen to your music or podcast while also hearing what is going on around you. Ready to buy something small with a big impact? Click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/Book of Valis to get 15% off your next Raycon purchase. So go check it out. It really helps support the channel. And thanks to Raycon for sponsoring this video. Operation Hydrant proves theories right. I'm trying to stay low on the radar to keep the channel safe, so bear with me while I use slang/safe YouTube words like essay or young people. Now, Operation Hydrant was a British police investigation into allegations of young people/kids being essayed. By December 2015, Operation Hydrant had 2,228 suspects under investigation, 302 of whom were of public prominence, including 99 politicians and 147 celebrities from the media. Now you may ask, how come I have never heard of this? Well, tons of suspects had already passed away due to the crimes discovered mainly occurring in the late 1970s by middle-aged men. Chief Constable Simon Bailey said, "We are now having to come to terms as a society, and we are going to have to recognize and accept that during the 1970s and 1980s in particular, there was widespread essay of young people taking place." Also stating, "These allegations in the vast majority of cases were never reported to authorities. Some victims did not think they were going to be believed. There was one constant factor. There was an abuse of power to satisfy their sick desires. We do not understand the true scale of it. There's a lot to come out. There are also a lot of victims who are yet to come forward." Could this be a revelation that the same thing is going on in Hollywood and other forums currently? Could this also explain all the accusations that were recently levied against the famous? Powerful people covering up their crimes and the justice system refusing to look? Or has society as a whole become more keen on stopping it?
I can tell you that the number one problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be pedophilia. That's the biggest problem for children in this industry.
The casting couch even applies to children.
Oh yeah, it's all done under the radar.
Nobody talks about pedophilia.
It's the big secret.
And it's widespread?
Oh yeah, I was surrounded by them when I was 14 years old. It wasn't until I was old enough to realize what they were and what they wanted and what they were about and the types of people that were surrounding me, till I went, oh my God, they were everywhere like vultures.
Vultures who Feldman says abused him and his best friend, the late child actor Corey Haim.
The Twitter Files. This entry is in reference to the recent discovery of internal company documents at Twitter, which exposes the control that the United States federal government and other influential powers had over the social media company, controlling how information was handled and distributed. Going through the files, Twitter was exposed for deliberately shadow banning accounts and then lying about it. They were even forced to deplatform certain accounts at the request of government officials, and if they didn't, they were met with angry phone calls from the White House. Yeah, even federal law enforcement agencies manhandled Twitter to their liking, suppressing certain news and trending topics. Elon Musk even stated that almost all the conspiracy theories regarding Twitter were true. Though it may not seem like a big deal, it may be, as this seems to confirm some sort of government control of speech on a private company's public internet forum. TimeCube. Otis Eugene Ray, the self-proclaimed wisest man on Earth, launched TimeCube in 1997 as a personal website. It was a self-published venue for Ray's theory of everything, commonly known as the TimeCube, which polemically alleges that all current disciplines in science are conspiring to teach lies by omitting his theory's purported truth, that each day comprises of 4 days occurring simultaneously. Along with these remarks, Ray portrayed himself as a godlike entity with superior intelligence, who has absolute evidence and proof for his beliefs, even offering $10,000 cash for anyone who proves that he's wrong. Ray would pass away on March 18, 2015, at the age of 87 though. The website has a passage that reads, "When the sun shines upon Earth, two major time points are created on opposite sides of Earth, known as midday and midnight, where the two major time forces join. Synergy creates two new minor time points we recognize as sun up and sundown. The four equidistant time points can be considered as time square imprinted upon the circle of Earth. In a single rotation of the Earth's sphere, each time corner points rotates through the other three corners time points, thus creating 16 corners, 96 hours, and 4 simultaneous 24-hour days within a single rotation of Earth. AI should make life easier. This is the idea that artificial intelligence should become powerful enough at a certain point for it to be able to automate everything hard in life, leaving us in a perfect utopia, a heaven on earth of sorts, where nobody has to work or suffer. But this ultimately will not work, as some theorize that artificial intelligence will make life meaningless by taking away all the hard tasks and battles there is to life, that gives things like peace and quiet a purpose. We can even see the effects of this coming into play currently, as data shows that major depression has increased amongst everyone in the population, not only a certain age, but even then it seems higher in younger people. This could be tied to the everyday use and interaction with technology, like social media and/or addictions to certain habits online, which desensitize us. Like this Reddit post states, the most extreme example was the idea that if we reach a point where we can connect our brains to computers, such as what Elon Musk is trying to do, that would essentially make everyone be able to do everything. Not only will AI take virtually any given job, but imagine simple joys like learning an instrument. Gone. Where's the excitement in playing an instrument if you're instantly good? You can play anything, and everyone else can too. The idea that tons of people will become unemployed in the near future simply due to self-driving cars and other forms of AI that are practically available today is terrifying. Millions of people will lose their life purpose, and when AI is able to create music, make art, write books better than humans can, it's starting to seem like there will be nothing left to look forward to, nothing to keep our minds occupied since every task could be passed on to an AI. Why should I not fear the future? NASA did weed experiments. A 2016 through 2018 online hoax called the NASA Weed Trials reported that NASA paid $18,000 to volunteers to participate in studies on bed rest, during which the volunteers were given weed to smoke. Although the bed rest experiments were carried out by them, weed was never used in any of them, according to NASA. Akashic Records. The Akashic Records are a compilation/recording of all universal events, thoughts, words, emotions, and intent ever to have occurred in the past, present, or future in terms of all entities and life forms, not just humans alone. According to the religion, theosophy, and the philosophical school known as anthroposophy, theosophists think that they are encoded in a non-physical level of existence, known as the mental plane. There are anecdotal stories, but no hard-proof scientific evidence that these recordings exist. They also believe that all humans are connected in a realm where dreams could be a glimpse of what a person once lived through. Cloned celebrities. Gucci Mane is a clone according to some people. Well, not everyone exactly, but a particular sect does believe that he was replaced by a lookalike. Why did they do this? I don't know. The accusation came after he was released from prison, and people noticed that he had completely changed. From his personality to his tattoos, apparently losing tons of weight while in prison as well. But just because someone lost weight, it doesn't mean they're clones. That's not evidence. So what else do they have? Some say that his tattoos have dramatically changed places and or seem to have been completely different. Even his skin pimples seem to have been removed. Though I would credit this to weight loss. Do you think Gucci Mane is a clone or any other celebrity? Another person accused of being cloned was Megan Fox. People believe that her facial features changed, as well as her freckles being completely gone, though most would argue plastic surgery and makeup. This could also apply to the old Paul McCartney theory that he was replaced by a body double after dying in a car crash back in 1966. The record label was accused of doing this to keep on earning money through his name. Some points to the fact that when playing the song Revolution 9 from the Beatles' White Album backwards, you could hear them saying "Turn Me On, Dead Man." Not only that, John Lennon was accused of saying "I buried Paul in strawberries filled forever," though he actually states cranberry sauce. The legend even released an album title responding to the theory, called "Paul is Live." Dasani Water. There have been numerous upsets about Dasani Water, a brand owned by the infamous Coca-Cola company. Consumer outrage erupted in 2004 when it was revealed that their purified water was simply filtered tap water. The company then had to recall their product from the UK because it had too much bromate, a chemical that has been known to raise the risk of developing cancer. The chemical use was argued to be justified due to it being used to disinfect the drinking water. Now, how do they make Dasani, and why does it taste so different from other brands? Well, Dasani adds certain minerals and salts to the combination after processing and filtering municipal tap water. All water has minerals, and the various mineral types somewhat affect the taste of the water. Therefore, they work in things to make Dasani taste the same everywhere, making you addicted to their specific brand. Also, according to the Dasani nutrition label, magnesium sulfate, potassium chloride, and salts are added to the water, which some speculate is added in to purposely make you more thirsty, consuming more and more of the brand. Though it can be argued that the amount added is too insignificant to do that. But what do you think, and do you like the taste of Dasani? Hebrew temple denial. Temple denial is the assertion made by Palestinian politicians, religious leaders, thinkers, and writers that several temples in Jerusalem either didn't exist or were built somewhere else than the Temple Mount, a holy site in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam that has been around for thousands of years. The entire plaza is regarded as the noble sanctuary by Muslims, making it the third holiest place in Islam. Muslims believe it to be the location where Muhammad started his night journey. Roswell incident. The Roswell incident involves the 1947 recovery of metallic and rubber wreckage from a crashed military balloon at Roswell, New Mexico. Decades later, conspiracy theories claim that the wreckage was from a flying saucer and that the truth had been suppressed by the United States government. Roswell Army Airfield published a press release on July 8, 1947, reporting that a quote-unquote flying disc had been retrieved. The Army quickly reversed their statements, though, claiming that the crashed object was a standard weather balloon and nothing more. The Roswell incident received little attention until the late 1970s, when retired Lieutenant Colonel Jesse Marshall convinced ufologist Stanton Friedman that the debris he recovered was extraterrestrial, claiming that a spacecraft carrying aliens had crash-landed and that the military had recovered the aliens before taking part in a cover-up. Epstein's connections ignored. Okay, this is one that pisses me off in particular because people are getting off the hook for something horrible. Now, Jeffrey Epstein was of course caught and exposed for trafficking and other things that I can't speak about here on YouTube, even coming to the mainstream after quote-unquote conspiracy theorists had been covering him for a while. One interesting thing to note is that I even remember there being debunking videos made against these accusations. Where are they now? I don't know, as they seem to have been purged after a while, but I digress. The real question here is, why are so many people in close connection to Jeffrey Epstein and his island not being thoroughly investigated? Not only that, mainstream outlets seem to completely ignore his connections to high-ranking figures. Why isn't there more pressure on his associates? Well, some believe that his connections to those in the public eye make it so that it is impossible to bring this topic up without facing repercussions. But put simply, it's speculated that he has dirt on every single person in the industry, a shadier side to the whole business, causing some to question how big and sophisticated his organization truly was in order to get away with doing those awful things on his weird island. How many people have been paid off to keep quiet, and did his friends turn a blind eye to his criminal activities, or were they participating? Clearly, this isn't a political issue either, as both the left and the right agree that there seems to be more than meets the eye. There's also the question of why wasn't he blacklisted sooner by companies and friends, as he was a registered offender for a while, way before mainstream coverage. The victims even intended to sue Deutsche Bank and JP Morgan Chase for benefiting from their pain. According to the claims, the banks knowingly profited from Epstein's trafficking and opted for profits over following appropriate protocol and terminating his accounts. They just kept it. Like they did to this guy, it should apply to all vile criminals.
He was convicted of soliciting prostitution from minors. What did you know about him when you were meeting with him, as you've said yourself, in the hopes of raising money?
I had dinners with him. I regret doing that. He had relationships with people he said, would give to global health, which is a interest I have. Not nearly enough philanthropy goes in that direction. Those meetings were a mistake. They didn't result in what he purported, and I cut them off. That goes back a long time ago now. So there's nothing new on that.
It was reported that you continued to meet with him over several years, and that, in other words, a number of meetings. What did you do when you found out about his background?
And, I've said I regretted having those dinners, and there's absolutely nothing new on that.
Is there a lesson for you, for anyone else looking at this?
Well, he's dead, so, in general, you always have to be careful,
Humans are alien garbage. This title may seem ridiculous at first, but let me explain. A theory persists that we as human, the species, are a result of extraterrestrial trash. The aliens left their garbage here on Earth thousands of years ago, and we, the trash, eventually evolved to Homo sapiens, modern day humans, hypothesized by Cornell University's very own Thomas Gold. We are simply cosmic garbage. The Amazon was built. You have probably heard of or have seen the Amazon rainforest in movies and TV shows, even inspiring Avatar, the highest grossing movie of all time, inspired by the Brazilian rainforest and the struggles of indigenous people who live there. The reason it is speculated of being man-made comes when comparing the Amazon to other natural woodlands. One major difference is that they normally stretch over large hills and mountains, but the rainforest doesn't, or at least not the majority. Most of it sits on top of flat land, almost looking like a massive garden. The people native to the area were also known to practice agriculture differently. Instead of planting small plants, they planted and harvested trees, taking the resources like the wood and the fruit from the tree, making the Amazon a massive rainforest city where the natives would take their resources from. It could be that it started off as a small area and grew out of hand after a while, ultimately creating the rainforest we now know. Immortal Celebrities cult. Okay, you've probably seen pictures like this, depicting a famous celebrity and on the side, an old black and white photo showing someone who looks exactly like them. Well, this entry suggests that all the celebrities in these eerie photos are somehow in a cult that through some sort of science or occult ritual are able to live longer than the average human. That or they're straight up immortal. Some also like to point out how most celebrities don't age, or at least they look younger than they actually are. How do they do this? Some say that the secret ingredient is adding kids/young people's skin and other things into a remedy that could be applied to the face. Stem cells are rather popular in the cosmetic industry. However, they are usually taken from plants rather than kids/young people. The theory behind the more recent use of foreskin fibroblasts in cosmetics is that they secrete significant amounts of human growth factor proteins, which stimulate cell regeneration and collagen formation, making the skin appear younger. Tying this back to the immortal celebrity cult theory, some say that they are directly involved in a young people trafficking business, with the main purpose being to produce more fresh skin, used to keep the club looking young and fresh. Now, not everyone in Hollywood is accused of doing this, but some of the biggest stars are. Take a look.
I've had stem cells in the blood of a 2-year-old child injected into my skin, and my face still looks like this.
You need to be using fetus blood, Eddie. Little spritz of afterbirth, darling.
Yeah.
And boost it, you look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes the
What are you
serum.
pushing into the skin, Sandra?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from
It's foreskin from a Korean baby. That's what it is.
Media is meant for distraction. Put simply, media is a strong tool used to distract us from our daily lives that some suffer through due to endless jobs they work, pains they suffer, certain world events, and legal change brought upon the guise of being innovative and good, and or the realization that compels you to stand up against a government or company that is trying to suppress your rights and freedom. Basically, you are treated as a child, so the grown-ups can deal with the real business, which is stealing from the poor and giving more to the rich. It's an old tale. History repeats itself, some other cliche, etc. Some would even say that American football is the modern equivalent to gladiators in ancient Rome, meant for arenas of people, entertaining, distracting. Some players still get really hurt. An example could be the theory that puts forth the idea of Britney Spears being used by the Bush administration to distract the masses from the mistakes Bush was making at the White House. Some have stated that every time the White House would mess up, the press would come out with another scandalous story about Britney Spears. Oh, she almost dropped her baby? Really? Basically, she was the presidential scapegoat according to this theory. Elm Guesthouse Exaro coverage. Exaro was a British website situated in London. It ostensibly did political investigation journalism between 2011 and 2016, but it is now known, together with its editor Mark Watts, for its direct involvement in Nick's Carl Beach's false allegations of abuse in Operation Midland. Exaro claimed to specialize and carry in-depth investigations when it was founded in October 2011 and used the catchphrase "holding power to account." Its website stated that it aimed to provide evidence-based open access journalism. Carl Beaches, under the alias Nick, claims that a powerful predator ring abused young people/kids at Elm Guesthouse, a popular hotel where prominent British figures stayed, in Barnes in the late 1970s. Beaches' allegations of abuse crimes committed by the supposed predator ring later became the basis for the Metropolitan Police's Operation Midland, a £2 million investigation that concluded in 2016 with no charges filed because there wasn't any evidence. Yep, the accused were the victims of false accusations. The Metropolitan Police Commissioner apologized to the victims of Beach. He was then convicted for his false claims and imprisoned for 18 years, though some say that this was a cover-up, protecting the rich upper class, as Beach would go on to deny that he was in the wrong. An interesting thing to know is that Beach was then convicted of similar charges that he was pursuing. So was he actually projecting, or was he blackmailed? Albinism hunters. This is in reference to the practice of the hunting of people with albinism in some parts of sub-Saharan Africa. According to the theory, certain albinistic people and their body parts can transmit magical abilities. Such superstitions is widespread, particularly in some parts of Africa's Great Lakes region, and has been promoted and exploited by witch doctors and others who use their body parts and ingredients and rituals and potions, claiming that their magic will bring the user prosperity. And of course, the victims can't do anything to change, as it is a genetically inherited condition. As a result, even graves have been dug up to be used in these practices. Politics influence science. This entry explains itself, and some cases have been proven to be true. It is when a government, business, or any other organization uses its power and wealth to influence the findings of scientific research in order to benefit from it, leaving a negative impact on the academic validity of certain fields and scientific freedoms. For example, according to documents from the US State Department, the Bush administration commended Exxon executives for their active involvement in crafting climate change policies. Yes, the same Exxon company that now has to pay $14 million fines over creating air pollution at its Baytown, Texas crude oil refinery, the biggest fine ever imposed in a citizen enforcement action related to air pollution. According to the plaintiff's attorneys, get this, 124 organizations have been receiving funding from ExxonMobil or have collaborated closely with those that have, according to the information found in official Exxon documents. According to The Guardian columnist George Monbiot, these organizations take a consistent line on climate change, that the science is contradictory, the scientists are split, environmentalists are charlatans, liars, or lunatics, and if government took action to prevent global warming, they would be endangering the environment. By the middle of the 1950s, scientists had come to the conclusion that smoking increases the risk of developing lung cancer, but the tobacco industry resisted the findings both in the media and among scientists. Tobacco firms supported think tanks and lobbying organizations, launched public health initiatives, placed ads in medical publications, and even investigated other potential causes of lung cancer, such as pollution, asbestos, and even pet birds. So I guess we can thank them for those. They advocate for more research to be done though, while denying all the evidence against tobacco in an effort to delay regulations. All this to say that who's to know whether this is going on right now in any other fields. And that was the second part of the darkest conspiracy theory iceberg. Stick around and subscribe if you would like to watch more videos like these. Thank you and later.